start interviewing Bryant Thomas, former AP newsman out of the Washington Bureau, who's been keeping a close eye on all events concerning Trump. Bryant, one would think that the supposed breakthrough of Trump setting the stage for negotiations with North Korea's announcement that they're suspending nuclear tests pending the summit, one would think that Trump would be getting a lot of mileage out of that, and you're saying that that is not the case.
Well, I was watching Michael Schmirkanish this morning on CNN, and he had a poll toward the end of the show that indicated that 64% of the American public surveyed in this poll indicate that Trump had nothing to do with Kim Jong-un's decision to put a suspension on his nuclear activities, and only 36% said Trump had something to do with it. And that's surprising, because I would have thought that the number would be much higher.
And the 33% or whatever it was kind of coincides with his base, doesn't it?
Exactly. I mean, these are the people between 30 and 40% who will support him no matter what he says, no matter what he does, no matter who he surrounds himself with. They just think he's what the doctor ordered for politics.
All right, so despite this supposed dramatic breakthrough in negotiations with North Korea, it's not really transferring. It's not magnifying him with the general public.
No, and the thing that is most puzzling about this is that at this point there's so much venom in the system against Trump in the public view that he could come up with a cure for cancer tomorrow, and I don't think it would help him. I think that it's really something to watch the negativity build here after months and months and months of unraveling of the people who were connected to him closest in the campaign, and people who are now facing prison terms, and people we are yet to see have legal troubles who had connections to the president or his campaign. And, that as long as that's the case, he may be stuck in this quagmire ad infinitum.
And you're saying that there's other indications of the lack of traction here in terms of how other Republicans are doing in their own races.
Well, that's another thing. You would have thought that with the advent of the tax cut that was just passed this past winter, and which took effect just only a month or so ago, in terms of withholding evidence in paychecks, that Republicans would be buoyed by this in their poll numbers, and nothing has moved. In fact, the numbers are getting worse for Republicans. More and more Republicans are not running for re-election. That number is above 30 right now, and moreover, those who are still running are facing tighter races than they ever had before, even in normally Republican safe districts.
And districts that were safe the last time around when Trump was running his campaign?
Well, I think that, time will tell. But if you see people like Paul Ryan bailing out, saying, I gave this job my all, not even, 3/4 of the term served, that's got to tell you something right there, that there's tremendous anxiety among Republicans about what's going to happen at the polls this November. Now, having said that, I will say that Democrats have to make sure that they make a case for independent voters, because they are the ones who decide all of these swing districts. And if they don't clearly make a case and differentiate themselves from what the Republicans have done and from the president, then they run the risk of having the Republicans return, even though those races will be tighter. It isn't going to be good enough for the Republicans to say, or for the Democrats to say at the end of this time that, look, all these troubles with these Republicans, and here we are. That's not going to work. they're going to have to make a case to voters saying that we can do better and here's how.
But, despite this poll, isn't it pretty much status quo? He's not gaining ground, but he's not losing it. And don't forget, he won the presidency with the same kind of polling. So is he in worse shape?
Well, I think he's not on the ballot, so it's very hard to know. I think that if he runs against someone other than Hillary Clinton, whose negatives are not in the mid-40s to start a campaign as hers were, then it's a whole different ballgame. If he starts out with somebody who's got a seasoned campaign history, no matter what the office holder is, and who's got negatives that are just traditionally in the 15, 20-point range, then I don't think Trump can win. But they just can't put up another Hillary Clinton. That's the big rub. I don't think it was so much that Trump was this visionary candidate. I think she started with a tremendous deficit and was not able to overcome it, and a clumsy campaign made it even worse. And that's I think why she lost.
All right, so you're taking this all as an indication that if the Democrats come up with a viable candidate, the deck is being stacked now against Trump. There's no trend towards a wider support of Trump among the voting population.
Certainly not among the swing voters, which is what they have to rely on for election. That's what got him in this time. All those swing votes in states like Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin and all of those Rust Belt states, Ohio, are the ones who made the difference. And the minute you take those states out of play, it's hard for any candidate to overcome that. So that's what happened with Clinton, and I would think that the swing states are going to continue to be swing states. I don't think there's any firm, concrete history in the electorate's mind as a result of what happened in 2016. I think Trump was the anomaly. I don't think it was setting the stage for future candidates. It was just Trump against Clinton, and Clinton just didn't have what it took to win.
All right, so you're seeing this then as a clear indication that it's not looking good for Trump for re-election.
Assuming he's still around for re-election. I mean, we don't know that yet either. Assuming he is, I don't know. If you start, he's got tremendous negatives now too. I mean, if he's got only 35% support from the electorate, you got to figure there's maybe another 10% that's in there that's soft. That still leaves them with 55% that are not in his corner yet, and that's a tremendous thing to overcome. Those are bigger negatives than Hillary Clinton had. So I don't know. At this point, I just don't see him as a viable candidate, and more importantly, a candidate that the party would probably support again. He can steamroller his way once through the primary process. I don't know if he can do it again.